Well, it must be Friday. Hello, greetings and welcome to Silverstone Live on Facebook with the recorded videos available on my YouTube channel immediately after the live show. This is the place, as you know, for fashion, entertainment, food and drink, and so much more. Each week I invite a special, underlined in red, special guest to join me to discuss one of these topics. So go ahead, post your thoughts and your comments during the live show. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you really won't get a response. But if you're watching it live, and it's currently 5:02 Eastern USA, 10:02 UK, Cocoa time, post your thoughts and comments during the live show below the live stream, and my guest will address as many as possible in the next hour. And as you know, ladies and germs, as you know, every week I have to thank those extraordinary nerds, and I say that lovingly, who make this show possible by keeping, this sounds very rude, but they keep my equipment going. So let's just have a word about those brilliant guys who keep me functioning. That sounds bad as well. Silverstone Live is powered by Experiment, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, the Apple specialist for people who can't afford the Apple stores and who want a less frenzied experience. There's no wait time at Experiment, King of Prussia. They accept trade-ins and transfer data at no additional charge, and most repairs are finished in under 15 minutes, and they can add memory on the spot. Experiment, King of Prussia specializes in selling pre-owned Apple products, the full range, computers, iPhones, iPads and accessories, making repairs, taking trade-ins and selling software and system updates. And every purchase comes with a 12-month warranty. Silverstone Live is only live each week thanks to our studio equipment, care and support by my mates at Experiment, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Well, there you go. There you go. Thanks, mates. I know you're watching. Miranda Holder is the go-to person in the UK for fashion, celebrity and luxury personal styling, and is also a fashion writer for several leading magazines and a blogger and vlogger on social media. She is a makeup artist and a fashion influencer and trained as a naturopathic nutritionist. Got my teeth in today so I can say that. Miranda intended to become an actress, but her dreams were shattered after a car accident. Yet the artist in Miranda fought to regain her life, which she has clearly accomplished with a super busy schedule. Miranda not only navigates the world of fashion, but she is also passionately, and I'm underlining that as well, devoted to the plight of strand abandoned dogs, especially in the Peloponnese region of mainland Greece, and in particular with a sanctuary called Dash, which is Dream of a Safe Haven. Miranda is in our virtual green room, and she'll join me in about a minute to chat about the world of fashion and her work bringing dogs to safe and loving families in the UK. First, let's join Miranda in a video she posted from her front seat at a fashion show, which we believe was in Paris. She goes to so many, it's not always easy to remember where they're coming from. That looks a bit like Jack Nicholson on the front row. I know it wasn't. Miranda, look how gorgeous she looks. Look at that. I am pleased to welcome Miranda Holder from her home in Hampshire, England, to this global broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking it all in because I've been following you on social media for so long, and you always look so glamorous when you're fashioning. And I'm just looking at you. You got so dressed up for tonight. I'm so flattered. Thank you.
Well, a girl has to feel good. We need our makeup and our little tips and tricks.
Yes, we do. And don't forget, ladies and germs out there, I know you're watching. Hi, Anne. Hi, Anne. She says Anne's a regular. She says hi, Phil. She says hi, Miranda. Glad
hi,
you
Anne.
So let's start on the sad stuff, and then we'll move on to the fun stuff. Let's begin with our canine friends. Your life, I mean, it seems so glamorous being around beautiful people in lavish settings, and yet so much of your time is spent, as it was at home this morning, in poo. But in Greece, it's in mud and poo with starving dogs. So, and I promise you I will shut up in a minute. Let me begin with a short video you posted from Greece, because I want everybody to see this, and then we will chat about this.
Okay.
Right, we have some kennelled areas here, which are, I mean, it's the only area of decent shelter, really, where we keep some of the more fragile dogs and some of the much younger dogs. So I'm going to take you in there and show you around. Please bear with me because it's soaking wet, my fingers are slipping and everything, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea, because I know you've seen it. There are hundreds and hundreds of dogs here. I'll just give you a recap for those who haven't seen this before or don't know the situation. The stray dog problem in Greece is one of the second worst in Europe, second only to Romania. And what is worse than that, really, is the torture issues that we have here, the animal abuse. You just would not believe it. I'm clearly not going to tell you all about it because it makes them very, very hard viewing and listening. But the stories that we have been privy to, here we go, look, they're having a bit of a huddle up in here to keep warm. And the things that we have seen now, you just wouldn't believe just how cruel people can be. And we find it hard to fathom when we come over here, because everyone that we meet, all the Greeks, are just so lovely and friendly and welcoming. But I'm assuming it's a very small percentage of the population.
How did you become so active with the situation in Greece and with Dash in particular? And let's give a shout out to Julian Morgan and the UK Dash team.
Absolutely. Julia Morgan in the UK, Katerina and the team over in Greece. It was definitely not the purpose of the family holiday that we had last year in August. We went to the Kalamata or Messini region of Greece for a 2-week chill-out holiday at a Nielsen resort in Messini, and very quickly became aware of a pack of stray dogs living on the beach. The first night I saw a mummy dog, a Labrador actually, who'd clearly very recently had puppies but was starving, just weaving her way through the tables and not getting anything and getting shooed away, which instantly alerted me. I instantly felt uncomfortable being an animal lover. I then discovered that there were a pack of dogs on the beach, including one very, very poorly puppy that we called Tess. She had terrible mange, 2 sort of broken back legs, and was incredibly frightened of people. I don't know what she'd been through, but I do know that her siblings were found dead on the beach the week before. So it wasn't a great situation. I rang, as luck would have it, there was a local dog shelter 10 minutes away from the resort. So I decided that I would help these dogs out, give them a ring, see what we could do. and they explained that they were full. There was absolutely no room at the inn. They were the largest dog shelter in Greece, but they would take Tess in because it was clear that she wouldn't survive unless she got some very quick help. So they gave me some tranquilizer. I put it in some breakfast sausages from the hotel, and it took me several hours to catch her. It was pretty cut and well, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do that, and I think that if I had failed in my task, I would have lost her entirely. But I caught her, took her to the shelter, and then I saw and learnt about the plight of the stray dogs in Greece, the scale of the situation and the seriousness of the problem, and we just couldn't turn away.
I'd like to give some statistics to the audience out there, which horrified me. Some animal abuse in Greece has increased by 22% in the last couple of years. 870,000 animals fall victim to passive or active abuse on an annual basis. Just under 3,000 cases of animal abuse were registered in 2017 across the country, almost double from 2016. The stories, Miranda, that I've read and you've just alluded to in the video that you've witnessed are just too atrocious to discuss on this show. Why on earth is this barbarism occurring? Why in Greece? Do you know?
The theory is it's part of their culture. It's been going on for years. There is an acceptance that animals are not sentient beings, that they don't have feelings. This is thought amongst many of the Greeks, so they can, I guess, do what they like to them and they don't suffer in the same way. I don't know, because part of Dash, the dog shelter's work, being the largest shelter in Greece, is education. They truly believe that they need to change what's going on there to just stop this avalanche of inhumanity and cruelty that is getting worse and worse. I'm sure the economy at the moment, which is obviously completely broken, is now accelerating things too.
I want to show another video. This is self-explanatory. It doesn't need any introduction. Let me see. I've got so many videos and photos today, ladies and gentlemen, and I think I've got everything sorted. So here, let's play.
I wanted to thank you. We've come to the cat food shop locally today. First of all, this is Molly. This is our baby who we are taking home. I'll talk to you more about her later. But this behind me is what your money has so far paid for with food for the shelter, which is a huge help. They make it stretch out really far. They add in sort of dry bread and water and whatever else they can to make it last as long as they possibly can. They also need money for treatment, for vets for the dogs, because many of them are very, very poorly. And they also need money for a neutering program. So still working on that. But I just wanted to show you this, because this is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. I also want to point out that Dash is part of the Kalamata Welfare Group and is supported by Greek Animal Rescue, GAR. But the UK provides most of the fundraising and food, bedding and material for building shelters. So the thought that occurred to me, Miranda, is whether Brexit is going to affect this in any way, and indeed, will it affect the dogs who are brought to Britain within the pet travel scheme, which is part of the EU agreement? Do you have any knowledge of this?
We are very concerned about what might happen with Brexit, for sure. It's going to make things more complicated. We're currently in the process at Dash of applying for a special licence from the government, which will make adoptions to the UK far easier, which I hope will override this. But we're really waiting to see what happens, because I don't think anyone knows, do they?
Nobody knows what's going to happen to you lot, let alone the dogs. So,
yes.
Let's, some stories have a happy end. There's too many dogs to have happy ends, unfortunately. There's too many of these dogs. But we can tell folks who are either watching now or the larger audience who watch the video, about ways that they can help. And I've already done a video earlier today telling them this, but let's have a happy end. This is an edited version of 2 dogs that I assume were brought to the UK. That's where I wasn't sure where this took place, but I assume it was in the UK. So let's just find the dogs arriving in the UK, and this will be a little bit more footage, ladies.
Wrap your hand around that, because there was also no thing.
We need to get a good picture of you, darling. Oh, he's so skinny. You've got to feed him up. He's so skinny. You've got to eat. Oh, I'm so sorry, it's really dark. Is there anywhere we're lighting it up? Yeah, let's. Can we get under the light? Thank you. Sorry, I was Jimmy. Hello.
4 girls. Oh wow! From Jimmy. Right, where is he? Let me see the moment. Right, to keep the collar. Are you all right? Shall I go down? Yeah, stick that, push that down.
Happy end there for 2 dogs. You were so happy you were crying. And
I know, it brings tears to my eyes just listening to that again. Actually, it was such an emotional time.
I'm putting information on the screen now. I was going to ask you how people can support the rescues in Greece, but I suppose there's 2 ways. I'm putting on the screen now, and I am going to put it underneath the video, of a way that people can contact Dash. I suppose the way they can help is by contributing, but also, more important than that, if anyone's looking to have a little new friend join the family, they can adopt, correct?
They certainly can. We've had, well, just through my sort of social campaigning alone, there's been about 20 dogs over in the last 6 months, which is wonderful. So I hope many more soon.
Good for you. And I'm going to put up this lovely photo that I absolutely adore of you. I showed you the photo earlier. You with, who is this we're seeing?
Molly.
That's Molly. Is Molly your dog?
Yes, I'm afraid I have 3 Greek rescue dogs here, Phil. So life is quite chaotic now. I don't do things by halves, and I took 3 home myself. So that is Molly, the first dog that we took.
And I think is that Molly who's sniffing around you in where you are?
Yes, she has been. She's now settled. It's because she hasn't had her bedtime treat, so she's not going to go to bed until she has those, but she's going to have to wait.
Okay, well, let's see. Hello, Colin. Oh my God, you're here early tonight, and hiya or howdy. So, Colin. Colin, this is Miranda, isn't she stunning? You've got to follow her on Instagram. I'm sure her husband doesn't mind me saying that. My wife doesn't mind me. My wife knows I've become a groupie of Miranda already. So okay, let's switch hats and frocks and turn to fashion and styling, and let's look at this brilliant fashion tip from Miranda. I've done so much work here, sort of copying so much stuff. Oh, Colin, what? You lost your voice? You're just doing a smiley face. You're not salivating over my guest tonight. Good. Let's show everyone. I love this tip, and I have to make a comment afterwards.
Did you guess right? It's an earplug. We've got loads of these hanging around from flights and things, and there's no need to spend the money on expensive beauty blenders, which can cost a fortune, when you have these things and you can squidge them and they can get right into the corner. So, okay, this could all go very, very wrong, but let me try and show you in the phone. You just literally pop a little bit of, in my case, light reflecting foundation under the eye, because I do have dark circles because I'm very tired, and then blend. And just by literally patting
I'm probably putting a funny face now, just literally patting the product. You press it into the skin, which means it will stay put longer than just literally sort of rubbing it around. And there you have a far more even coverage of product, which works. One big other makeup artist tip is work the products into your skin, like a concealer, foundation. No one does.
I hope people wash the bloody plugs first after being in their ears for so many hours on a plane. How on earth did you come up with? How did you come up with these tips? How did you come up with that one?
You just pick them up. I mean, I've done makeup for years. I've worked with a lot of amazing people, and you're always bouncing off each other. You know, I pick up wonderful things from behind the scenes at fashion shows, or going to see celebrity makeup artists do speeches, etc., etc. So it's just something I've picked up over the years.
So it's like when I speak to actors and they tell me that they use the word steal, and I always say, no, it's sponge. If an actor is on the stage with a celebrated actor, they will soak in as much information as they can. So you do this with people that you either revere or just people you know who've been doing it a long time. You just borrow tips off them. Here it's ear tips.
Totally. We're an industry of creatives, and we all are having constantly new fabulous ideas. It's great to be able to share them.
Colin says he always struggles with his concealer, but we've read about him on Facebook, and we know about that. It's his choice of skirts actually that bothers me. Colin. So okay, look, Shakespeare famously wrote these lines in As You Like It: all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. So Miranda, when I leave home, even if it's to go to the supermarket, I think of it as an opening. Well, I think of it as opening my front door and walking onto the stage. It's a performance, and I dress for that performance because I don't know who I will meet or what opportunities might present themselves from the image they see of me. Does that make sense to you at all?
Yes, totally. I couldn't agree more. Image is absolutely everything, and can have how you feel about how you look, and how you look can have such a huge impact on your day. I mean, it says everything without saying anything, doesn't it? No words are spoken.
Well, I've found it very interesting that I did a personal makeover when I was in the world of wine, as most people remember me from. You know, I had a blazer and a bow tie, and I used to do, you know, tie my own bow ties, and then suddenly I thought, I want to be who I really am. So I went back to my younger days and adopted a slightly different styling, and it's almost shocking how many people feel they can just come up to me. I mean, a lot of people know who I am through my work, but people who don't know me just feel that because of the way I'm dressed, and this isn't about me, but I can only use me as the example, because of the way I'm dressed, it's an invitation to come up and talk to me because I'm an interesting guy. And I've never had that before. Do you find the same thing? Because you dress constantly beautifully when you're not out mucking around with, you know, with the dogs and things. Do you find that something that is like an open invitation for people to come over and chat?
I think it's lovely if you see someone that looks fabulous to pay them a compliment. And I do that myself every time. If I see someone fantastically dressed, why not, you know, cheer up their day and give them a little bit of positive energy. I totally believe that.
I remember that I mentioned to you before we started that we have our own in-house fashion guru, Anne Cecil, who's amazing. And when we first started doing our podcasts, she was still teaching at a university in Philadelphia, and Drexel University. And she had me start by doing a series of chats with her students, her top students. And there was this lovely young student, and she wanted to talk about lingerie and silk lingerie. And I foolishly, that was in the beginning of doing these shows, some time ago, I foolishly said, well, that's great, you know, having something expensive and looking like that if you get lucky that night. But, and she said, no, not at all. I'm wearing it. It makes me feel good. I know I'm wearing it. That's the key, isn't it?
I'm so sorry.
You got a sore
My
throat?
Greek dog's misbehaving.
I thought you got a sore throat for a minute.
That's lady number 2 having a moment. I do apologise. You can't really make it up, can you? I thought she'd sleep tonight.
It's okay. It's okay. We were talking about dogs anyway before. So what I'm saying is, you don't wear clothes necessarily to make other people happy. You wear them for the most important person in your life. You.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel good, you know, if you look good, you feel good, and you can have such a different air of confidence about you, and it will make your day a better day every time.
Well, here's something. I'm going to show a few photos of you because you have some smashing photos on Instagram, and you should all follow Miranda on Instagram. You never know what she's going to turn up wearing or talking about. And I love these. I think, if you don't mind me saying so, they're a little bit silly, but I think they're smashing. This is Miranda wearing hand warmers that I adore. But I have the same issue. I drive my car with gloves like that, so the fingers fall off, but the rest of the hand is good. Where did you get those? Do you remember?
They were gifted to me by a little company called Somerville Scarves, which are great. And you can get all sorts of designs and colours, and I love them.
And that was from who?
A company called Somerville Scarves.
Somerville Scarves. In fact, yes, I should remember that because I started following them once. I was looking to see if they had any for me.
You should get some, Phil. Definitely. I think it'd suit you.
Okay. Hey, listen, Rabina, hello. I want to ask you and Anne and Colin and everyone else who's not identifying themselves, shall I get myself a pair of those scarves? I mean, what do you a pair of those hand warmers. What do you think? Shall I get those hand warmers? I think so. I think I should get a pair of them, maybe for next year. Let me get the photo of you and the dog off of there. Anne, you have to, I'm sorry, I have to read this. It's over here. You have to feel good about yourself to enable others to notice you. It's all about confidence.
It certainly is.
And hi, Rabina. Colin wanted to set me straight. It's not a dress he wears. He wears a kilt. So we, you do personal. You do so much, but you do personal styling and shopping for clients. Have you ever gone into a client's home and binned literally everything in their wardrobe?
Yes, I'm afraid I do sometimes. I try not to, obviously, but I have to be honest. And also, some people are often very ready for a huge change and need it. So, of course, we leave them with a few clothes until our shopping trip is planned, but we can sometimes be quite radical. People hang on to clothes for all sorts of reasons, and often it's least often because they make them look good. It's often because they don't want to throw them away, they don't want to be wasteful, they're sentimental. They don't suit them, they don't fit them, but they're still hanging on to them. So you have to get rid of the old before you can bring in the new.
It's very much the old British series. They did an American version, but it wasn't anywhere as good. What not to wear, where they just go in and they trash everything. But then the secret is, so here's the second part of that question. Now I'm thinking about it. On the TV series, they used to do what we just discussed, but then they used to hide a camera and see if the person followed through with what they learnt from, in your case, you, and continue to style themselves and buy in a style that suits them. Do they need to hold your hand to do that, or can you basically trust that they're going to shop in the style that you found for them, or do you go back and visit them? How does it work afterwards?
I give them, when I finish my services, they have a takeaway book with all the information they need regarding their body shape, their colours, the styles that suit them, their sort of style tribe, if you like, whether they prefer to be a little bit edgy or a bit romantic, shop suggestions, outfit suggestions, if there's any holes or gaps in their wardrobe still, what I recommend they get. So they do have quite a watertight plan of how to look and feel their best. It is, of course, completely up to them whether they follow it or not.
Of course. And being human beings, they probably, well, I mean, you're not doing it for, you're doing it for love, but they're paying you to do this service. So you would think if they're paying you, they might want to follow through with it. It's like having piano lessons and then selling the piano, isn't it? I suppose.
It is.
Yeah.
I think most people absolutely, they adore the process. They completely fall in love with the new them, and they usually go and spend far more money than they ever intended to and have 3 times the wardrobe that they were going to allow themselves. And I see all these butterflies emerging. It's incredibly rewarding, and confidence soars, which is fabulous.
Well, I think, you know, I have a lot of obsessions, thanks to Anne, I think. I go into a shop and I look at, well, in the early days, I went into a shop, took a photo of something and texted it to her anytime, day or night, and said, what do you think? Do you think this will look good on me? She was like, I don't know why. I mean, I really did have my own confidence, but I needed her to back me up. But I have a hat obsession. I have about 60 hats, as everyone knows.
Amazing.
I forget myself what my head looks like, but I think that so many women, Miranda, should discover how amazing they look in hats. I want to show how look you great in a hat. How much of this have I been drinking? I want to show how look you great in a hat. I like the way that sounds. This is hat number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if I'm going to try and put them next together on the screen here. Let's see if they'll fit. No, they won't. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. We're doing some studio stuff here. Here we go. Now look at that. The one on the left that we're looking at is you with the yellow top and that nice wide-brimmed. It looks like it's made from. It looks like a woolen hat, and I forget where you buy your hats, but do you buy your hats at? Over here, it's called TJ Maxx. I think it's TK
Maxx.
Yeah, is that where you buy your
hats? I pick them up all over the place. I don't have a particular supplier of hats. I like to collect them wherever I go.
Look at you. You look fabulous in a hat. The thing is, of course, you look so Hollywood there. You got your glasses on. Let's see. Colin's just asked a question. I hope it's not rude. I'm going to put it on the. Oh, well, you know what, Colin? We're going to get to an answer in a second. No, it's not from Colin. I'm sorry. Colin changed sex. It's from Anne. I've got it on the screen. Anne says, when you're at home, Miranda, do you ever slop about in tracksuit, trousers, etc.? So let me jump forward a minute. And I have a picture here of what Miranda does with her tracksuit trousers. This comes from a company called Mother Denim. And this is, let me see. Yes, here we go. Let's put this up. It's not the same thing, but this is you in camo tracksuit bottoms. Is that what you walk around your house in, or do you actually walk around in tracksuit bottoms?
I have to say that I spend 90% of my life dressed to the nines, because it's what I do, particularly in fashion. On the fashion side of things, you need to make a statement, and it's all about being bold and elevating your look. So there's nothing I like better after a long day in London than getting back to the country where I live and changing into either my pajamas or, yes, my tracksuit bottoms and my Uggs, and slopping around with no makeup on. So absolutely. And if I had to get the odd weekend off, I have no makeup, hair straight back. It's as if I'm not going out, and slopping around just being comfortable. So I'm perfectly human on that front.
Now, these camos that I've got on the screen now, I've seen you in a lot of different types of those bottoms, trousers, pants, tracks. I don't know what you call them, but
cargo trousers.
That was the word I was looking for, because I have several pairs of them and I couldn't think of the word. So that's what happens when you do things live. Cargo trousers. You like cargo trousers, don't you? I do. I do, because you can shove all sorts of things down them. Like
it's not that point. For me, it just suits my figure. I don't have any hips. So you've always got to dress with body shape in mind. And I'm an inverted triangle. So I go in a bit at the waist, but I go in a lot at the hips. I don't have the lovely hourglass that we all want. So part of personal styling for a woman is to recreate that lovely hourglass shape. So I'm adding volume to my bottom half. So I go in the middle and out at the bottom again. So again, recreating the hourglass. So I love my camo trousers for that reason.
Now, if I put those back on again, you're doing something with these that I would never have dreamt of doing. And I don't care that I'm a bloke, because the only magazines I read are women's magazines. I think men's fashions are awful. So I think they're boring as hell. So I love following women's fashions. Now, there you've taken something that I would think you would wear very casually, yet you put a very smart top on, nice handbag, lovely short jacket, and a really super pair of, I can't see because it's cropped at the bottom, but they're probably boots, knowing you. You've really sexed it up, haven't you?
Yes, so this is something else that I like to play with, and I think makes an outfit far more interesting, and I refer to it as high-low dressing. So you take a high element, which is something quite dressy, that you would perhaps think about as an evening piece. So for example, actually I'm wearing this rather lovely sparkly top at the moment. This would be a high element, and then you mix it with something unexpected, so a low element, which is super casual. So for example, this with some tracksuit pants or cargo trousers, and you're just playing around with concepts, which I think makes a much more interesting look.
And we've discussed that on this show before, and that's what's fun about shopping, because I think it's the same thing people have with computers. They're afraid to mess about with it a little bit. Just see what happens if you press this thing here, or you wear this with that. And we're going to get to something very curious and intriguing about something that you do in a short while. I'm going to show a photo of you being very limber and posing with some platform heels in an animal print, it looks like, in a door.
I know that one.
Let's see where it is. Here it is. Let's put that on the screen now. Look at that photograph. Look at that. She's just showing us what she can do with, well, how high she can lift her legs. But look at those. I used to wear those shoes, Miranda.
Yeah.
When I worked in Kings Road when the world was young. Everything old is new again, right?
Everything goes around in circles. It's a 20-year cycle in fashion. Usually, everything comes around about 20 years later. So don't throw anything away. I know that's the reverse of the advice I give on my wardrobe edits. But actually, if it's good, just put it into storage. Get it out in 20 years' time.
You know what? I could have sold you a smashing pair of boots that I got from I don't even remember, Dulce's probably, but I'm going to give my age away. But that was when I was, I used to run 3 shops in Carnaby Street and 2 in Kings Road for Irving Sellers, Mates. He was the first bloke that had the stores. I love that coat you're wearing with them. It's a full length, also a print. It looks almost velvet.
It's actually a dress.
It's a dress?
Yeah, it's a wrap dress. It's a DVF, Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress, and I'm wearing it open as a duster coat.
Oh, you see, I've got to spend more time looking at these things. I didn't realize that. And I was so intrigued by the amount of jewelry you had in your hands. You know, I'm looking at your shoes and your jewelry. I should be looking at you, but I'm not. I'm looking at your shoes and your jewelry.
That's okay.
So we've shown you in the Mother Denim. Mother Denim is the name of the company, by the way, where you got those camos from. Here, you are striking a pose in a phone box, being a little bit pouty, and wearing some awesome large round sunglasses. Look at
that. Was the same day. That was Fashion Week. That's why I was pouting. You have to pout during Fashion Week. It's completely compulsory.
How long? When was that taken? How long ago? A long time ago?
So that was last Fashion Week or last season. We've just had the February Fashion Week, which is obviously autumn winter 19 for those who know. So we're always looking ahead.
Yeah.
This was September, so we were looking at spring summer 19 last September.
A little bit pouty there, which I like. You have a little bit of attitude, but I tell you what. As you've probably figured out by now, I also have a lot of glasses, and all of my glasses, sunglasses as well, are Lennon-esque. They're all round. But those glasses remind me of somebody. You might know this quote. You might know who this is from, and then I'm going to show a picture of the person because you and I both adore this person. I was trying to get an interview with her, but I don't think it'll ever happen. But this is her quote. I love it because it applies to me. I'm not pretty, and I'll never be pretty, but it doesn't matter. I have something much better. I have style. Do you know who that was?
I love it. No, I don't. But I love the quote.
Oh, it's a famous quote from a lady that you and I both adore. She's a fashion icon by the name of Iris Apfel.
Okay.
Let me show everyone.
I love Iris.
Let me show everyone. There's Iris. Let me see if I can get Miranda alongside her. Look at this. Look at those glasses. Look at those glasses. Iris is now, I believe, 93.
She is incredible, and she is a huge style icon of mine. I can't believe I didn't recognise that quote. She is wonderful.
But it does prove a point because she has always mentioned that, I forget who it was she worked for, but she worked at one of the huge New York, Manhattan fashion stores when she was younger, and she was called over.
But she also makes a lot of beautiful fabrics. That's actually her background.
That's right. But when she started out, like as a shop girl, as it was, the owner of the store, I can't remember, one of the big icons of the retail industry said to her, you know, you'll never be pretty, but you've got something better than that. You've got style. And I've found that, you know, being pretty, being gorgeous, okay, it's great, it's wonderful, it'll open a lot of doors for people, but you can fudge a little bit by just looking dynamic in the right clothes, and your whole look, your face, your body isn't as important as how you carry yourself with what you're wearing and your personality, right?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, you can be the prettiest girl in the world and walk around in a sackcloth and you're not going to get very far, are you? So, no, style is so important. And, we're back to confidence again. It gives you a great air of confidence and it carries you through places. It carries you through life.
It's all about confidence. You've got to be able to walk out the door and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to dress in this. And you, if you can get away with it, that's fine. You and I mentioned Anne several times, just in case she's watching in, and I don't want her to feel jealous that she's not on today and you are. And Anne, you're not coming on the show anymore. Miranda's taking over. But anyway, the two of you agree on so much, but there's one thing that you both agree on. You both stress everybody needs neutral colors in their wardrobes. And this, to me, is what I do, and I know so many people are afraid of it. Don't be afraid to mix designer labels with high street brands or vintage items, right?
Oh, yeah. Top to toe designer is dull. I mean, it might be beautifully cut, but it's boring. It's boring just to all, dress in Prada, Gucci, Dior. It's much more interesting to have a unique look that shows your own personality, a bit more eclectic. So I shop from all three. I definitely invest in some designer pieces, of course. I wouldn't be a fashion agent if I didn't. I have some fabulous coats and some fabulous shoes that I will keep and treasure forever. The high street is great for sourcing various bits and pieces that are often high fashion and you don't want to put too much money towards. And we have a wonderful high street in the UK. We're very lucky. We've got a fabulous selection of chains such as Zara and H&M, Marks and Spencer's, good old M&S even, are doing us very proud over here. Our store is a great selection of shops and boutiques, and then most definitely vintage. This is great. Not only is it ethically great for our planet, because actually, rather devastatingly, fashion is the second most polluting industry to our planet, which is pretty depressing when you work in it and love it as much as I do. So we all need to do our bit, which is why I always advocate either investing in items as much as you can that will last you a lifetime, so buying neutral, as you said, or classically, and then also you can look at the other end of the spectrum and buy vintage, because you can get some amazing vintage pieces and either customize them or not, but work them into your wardrobe. So fashion should be interesting, fashion should be personal, and it's an expression of your own personality, and that's the beauty of it, is everyone is different. Everyone has different tastes and different lengths that they might go to, I suppose, when they're putting an outfit together, and we all come out totally different. So yeah, don't go for the sort of the factory look of all in one label or all in one high street. Go and mix it up and have fun. It's meant to be fun. You know, it makes me feel alive, fashion, and that's what I believe it should do.
I remember reading not too long ago that, because consignment stores are very big over here, I buy a lot of things, as does my wife, in consignment stores. You get some great buys. And I remember reading not that long ago that just in Knightsbridge, near Harrods, there was a high-end consignment store that opened. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where people were consigning their Gucci's and all of their top-end stuff, and they were selling it for much greatly reduced prices. And of course, it had only been worn a few times. Are you familiar? I'm just throwing this out. I wondered if you'd ever been in there.
Yeah, no, not that one. But we have I mean, this is also becoming very, very popular, sort of recycling or upcycling your old beloved clothes. And there's something called Fashion Reboot in the UK that's become really, really popular. It was started by a couple of editors. And they, first of all, they just invited fashion stylists to the event, and it's grown and grown and gone countrywide. And it's where fashionistas, male and female, can bring their treasured and well looked after sort of designer or high-end items and trade or sell with other people. And it's like a big swap shop. And I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's worth going to London to buy the clothes, and it's cheap. You know, you just, for the cost of the airline ticket and all the money you save, and then come back and put it on Craigslist over here. It's great, or eBay. But I'm going to show another video from you, because this sort of amuses me, and really, of everything, this really interests me, and I need to get more information on it. But it takes me to the Duchess of Sussex, who, of course, cannot be avoided in any conversation. She recently stepped out, I think it was this week actually, in Birkenhead in the UK, in a purple dress with bright red coat and matching heels. And it seems you both, both you and the former Meghan Markle are colour clash freaks. Before I ask you what your deal is with colour clashing, Miranda, let's roll some video here, which I love this. And everything Miranda does, she does in the back of a cab. I would love to be a taxi driver in London right now with Miranda in the back of my taxi. Hang on.
Okay, quick travelling style tip for you in the back of a taxi, because that's how we roll. You guys know about my print crush hashtag, and you've been doing the most amazing job. Well, I'd like to extend that style and get you to also clash your colours. Now, how many times do we all stick to the same colour palette or the same boring colours? Way too much black still going on out there. No, it's not the most slimming or flattering colour. Navy is far more chic. So let's be adventurous, ladies and gentlemen, and clash some really cool colours. Some of my favourite combinations are red and pink, a real classic. You've seen this a lot recently and it always works.
some other of my personal favourite combos are purple and orange, and pink and orange as well. That looks fabulous. So I really enjoy the hot colours. But you can do it with any colours. Just choose colours that are sort of opposing each other on the colour wheel. Keep getting cut off. I'm going to blame my lack of sleep for no timing, never mind. And have fun. The bolder the better. I today am wearing a clash of pink and red. I'm going to try and show you. Okay, if you can see, I've got a bright fuchsia pink shirt on, and I've got, well, I can show you, my red trousers on from Alice and Olivia, and I've teamed it with some really rather gorgeous leopard print boots from J. Crew. Sorry if you've got a bit too much of a crotch shot there, guys. It's not the easiest thing to do here in the cab. So a little bit of leopard print going on, always goes with red, goes with all the hot colours, actually really, really nice. And then finally I am wearing these really cute little flower earrings from Mango that I've posted about before or storied about before. They've got several colours in there, so go with loads of things and just kind of elevate the whole outfit.
Why are you clashing colours?
Because it's fun. Very simply. You know, we need to break out of our style ruts where so many of us are confined and we wear too many. I mean, yes, I advocate having neutrals in your wardrobe because then it'll extend further, but there's still too much grey and black and more black and navy and brown, you know, particularly in the winter. And it's dull. I mean, in the UK, our sky is dull the whole time. So let's just have fun. Let's break out of this and clash our colours. So you could either go for complementary tones. So you could have, you know, a couple of different shades of green that kind of blend together, or beige and white or brown that are sort of closer together on the colour wheel. Or you can go for opposing colours on the colour wheel that are totally different and stand out. And I think this is a really great way of lifting an outfit. So you can transform a boring blue dress with a fabulous pop of bright yellow or orange shoes and bright yellow or orange handbag, and you've completely lifted it. You can have a red dress and put neon pink with it, purple and orange. As I said, all those colour combinations, turquoise and pink, fabulous. So it's just about being a bit braver with our choices. And it's a bit like wearing a bright red lipstick for ladies that aren't used to it. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but actually it transforms the way you look, transforms the way people react to you, because colour is actually energy as well. They all vibrate at different energies. That's me going into my inner hippie, which is perhaps not for this conversation, but they do. That is factual. And the red lipstick, you know, it changes how people see you and approach you, and it has a miraculous effect on your day. So does wearing colour and being bold with colour.
And the neighbour's not going to pull back the curtains and say, "Hello, is that the fashion police? Please come out." The fashion police are not going to come out and get you.
Especially not in London.
No.
Goodness gracious. I mean, maybe in the suburbs or the rural areas slightly more. But actually, you know, people look twice and they think, "I wish I had her confidence or his confidence. You look great." You know, and it's just fun to experiment.
Yeah. I know you've been very, very busy the past couple of weeks, and I've been living your busy life vicariously through all of your posts, and I don't know, really if you've had much time to see what's been going on in both the London and the New York Fashion Weeks, but I wondered if you'd had a chance to nail down the takeaway from this year's shows as far as trending styles, or even more important, I think, the colours.
Well, number one is we have a Pantone of the year every year. I don't know if you're aware of that. I'm sure you are. But the powers that be that dictate this are Pantone. Last year was ultraviolet, so we still have a lot of purple around. This year is living coral, so we're now seeing many, many shades of coral and orange. So that's going to carry through into the catwalks. I've just viewed all of the autumn-winter 19 collections. So we're in winter at the moment. So actually you can think of a lot of quite autumnal, rusty, rich colours. but we still have lots of pops of vibrant, rich reds, loads of neon, and animal print is not going anywhere either. Print clashing, as I see that you are doing today, Phil, very, very Natalie, with your little necktie and your shirt. It looks great. And wearing the Pantone of the year, so you clearly fans this.
It's a scarf, if you don't mind. It's a scarf. I have millions of these.
It's a scarf.
Yes.
Scarf, not a necktie. Well, it looks great.
It's my inner hippie.
Well, it looks great, and print clashing is going nowhere. So this is another thing that I've been advocating and getting people to play with, which is mixing their prints and clashing their prints, and again having some fun. We're still in the land of opulence and excess, so we're still about embellishment and sequins and feathers and contrasting textures, and having fun. We're nowhere near minimalism at the moment. That's still a sort of a long way off. PVC, leather, all sorts of sequins, fringe trousers, all sorts of wonderful, sumptuous touches, which personally I love because it makes for a far more interesting shoot. Being a fan of Iris Apfel, more is more for me. So I've got a lot to play with this season.
Yeah, and of course, so your colours, your clashing colours are very much in vogue, so to speak, at the moment. I love this quote from you. Fashion isn't an industry, it's a disease. You explain that the successful people in the fashion world are driven by the passion for what they do, and you confess to also being totally consumed by the bug. So what is it about the industry and your own career that gives you, Miranda, your adrenaline rush?
It's a good time to ask, because actually London Fashion Week, I've just finished writing my article on it today for International Excellence magazine. I do a report and I give a candid report of how, the stories inside gossip from the season and how I felt throughout. And I actually opened it by saying, I had this love-hate relationship with Fashion Week. It's always a very intense week. You don't get enough sleep, you see loads of shows, and you're absolutely exhausted afterwards. However, it always reminds me and my peers, I think, why we are doing this, because it's not for the money, because actually it's an industry that's broken by slashed budgets and funding. We have been crippled as a creative industry recently, which is just so sad, and so many designers are struggling to survive now, with the big high street chains like Zara copying an item off the catwalk in often less than an hour. Yeah. It's very difficult for designers to do their thing and keep their IP and their designs to themselves. So we're reminded that we do it because of the buzz and the excitement and the creativity of this industry. It is so wonderful to be in work in one of the fashion capitals of the world, be right at the forefront of what is happening. I mean, you can feel the beat of the drums as times are changing, new things are being unfurled, new trends are being made, new models are being made. It's very exciting, but also to be able to play all day with beautiful clothes, which makes such a powerful statement without you having to open your mouth and say one word. It means so much. We're all very visual people. It's all about, looking at beautiful things. And I love beauty. And I love the message and the power that clothes have. And, you have your designers that want to campaign and sort of get their message across. People, I've gone completely blank. It must be the tequila. Vivian Westwood, thank you. Oh my goodness, that would have been very embarrassing. Vivian Westwood, who still is an absolute activist and wants to get her message across with her clothes. Yeah. And then you have other people that just go for the absolute beauty of it, and every line is absolutely exquisite and just and hold themselves to some other ideal. There's such a range, and everyone's got a message to put across. You can see that I love it. I'm off on one now, ranting away. But it's a fabulous industry.
That's great, because I started out in the fashion world, and my wife and I go as often as possible to Soho in New York, and I love the high techiness now of the shops. I like the staff in the shops are really, really passionate, and I had a great guest on the show not that long ago on my podcast who I adore, and when you're around her, the energy is just amazing. And that is Rebecca Minkoff, who we went to her studio in New York, and then we went to her store, and she's just, you know, I think she's got as much energy as you. She's always, you know, designing and selling and taking photographs, of having photographs taken. But this is what the industry is all about, having young energy pumping through it. But on the same token, what I'm segging into this now, we just lost one of the greatest fashion icons, Karl Lagerfeld. He was a very unusual German. He had the British self-deprecating wit and an enormous sense of irony, and he never, ever, even at his age, he never lost his relevance. How will you remember him from the design perspective?
Oh, I mean, Karl is an absolute classic. I mean, he single-handedly revamped Chanel and made it relevant again when he took the helm all those years ago, and was fabulous for Fendi. And he wasn't ever afraid to take risks. He was one of the industry's movers and shakers. And still, even at the ripe old age of 82, you know, he was still relevant, as you say. He was still designing, and he had just a fabulous aesthetic that was so distinctive. I mean, he created the Chanel logo with the interlocking C's, for example. That was him. So he was just a genius with his designs.
I've just got a photo of him on here, and I mean, as strange as his get-up was, God, I would give anything to walk around looking like that. What an incredible look! I mean, I'm torn between Keith Richards and Karl Lagerfeld as far as what I ultimately want to end up looking like. But Keith Richards,
it was quite a difference there.
we're sort of over time, but I'm going to have you stick around a few more minutes because we don't have, and you know, I hope that that's okay with you, Miranda. But I'm not going to get. I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes. Just about blokes. You quoted designer Tom Ford. I must say, I love your writing. I love your blogs. You write beautifully. It's very. It's just fabulous. I'm a real snob when it comes to writing.
Thank you. I struggle with it actually, so that's very nice to hear.
Don't tell me that. I don't want to know about that. That's your problem. I enjoy reading it. But we can't all be AA Gills, you know. Anyway, you quoted designer Tom Ford in one of your blogs, quote, "Fine grooming is the mark of a modern gentleman. It is the way a man presents the best version of himself to the world." That sounds like it was written in the 60s, but is he talking about men using moisturizers and face wash, which are part of my own daily regimen, or is he suggesting short back and sides and sensible shoes?
Oh my goodness, definitely not the latter. No. Carl, we've just been talking about colour clashing and print clashing. Men have got to have fun too, and they can experiment with long hair and colours and crazy shoes, of course. But there are some basic rules about just sort of presenting yourself to a certain level that everyone, women and other men, do appreciate. And there are some gentlemen perhaps that like to be a bit more caveman in their approach to how they look and how they look after themselves. But lovely Tom is the most amazing example of wonderful grooming, and I don't think ever has a hair out of place. So he's one end of the spectrum. But no, have fun, most definitely, but do look after the basics, that's what I would say.
Well, I think I'm going to save everything else I wanted to talk to you about for a later date, because we've gone well over an hour, and it's late. It's past your bedtime. You don't need any beauty sleep, but I know you have to get to sleep. I just want to tell everyone. And by the way, this has been. I always know when I have a great guest because the hour shoots by. I hope it hasn't dragged for you. You're as much fun in person as you are following you on social media. I've so looked forward to today, and I'm so thankful you joined me. So,
thank you. It's been a pleasure.
My guest, ladies and germs, has been gentlemen. I keep saying germs. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. My guest has been Miranda Holder, who is the only person you should see when you're in the UK, if you're living in the UK, or if you're traveling over there, for fashion, celebrity, and luxury personal styling. And I hope you've all got your glasses on, because not only has her name been on the screen the entire hour, but so is her website. Go to mirandaholderstyling.com. This will be put along with the video, so you can follow that. I am also going to be putting up the way that you can help these poor puppies. If you missed the beginning of the show, the way that you can help these poor puppies, especially with Dash in Greece. And we are going to do what I always do. I always close with something that I used at the beginning. I am going to close with a video of Miranda at the shelter in Greece. I am going to say to you, Miranda, I hope you'll come back again.
I will.
And join us. I am going to, as I told you earlier, be very rude and disconnect you in a second, but enjoy the rest of your drinky poo. Have a fabulous weekend. Relax. You need some relaxing.
I do.
I just can't. I don't mean you don't look like you need it, but
Oh, bless you. But it's been very busy. I'm not relaxing, actually. I'm up to London with my daughter tomorrow for her birthday, so no rest for the wicked.
How old is she?
She's going to be 11, and we're going on a double-decker afternoon tea and then shopping.
Wow. And you have a son as well, don't you?
I do. I have Jack, who's 12, nearly 13.
That's what I guessed, and I figured that you, naughty girl, you had them when you were 16. So I don't know you girls what you get up to. But anyway, I am going to bid you adieu, and I am going to contact you afterwards and send you everything that I promised you. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be back with you all next week. Please, if you didn't see it at the beginning, or if you did, please watch this video. And Miranda, mwah.
Good night.
Good night. Here we go, folks. Let's see, where do we have this? Here we go. Bye, Miranda.
Right, we have some kennelled areas here, which are, it's the only area of decent shelter, really, where we keep some of the more fragile dogs and some of the much younger dogs. So I'm going to take you in there and show you around. Please bear with me, because it's soaking wet, my fingers are slipping and everything, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea, because I know you've seen it. There are hundreds and hundreds of dogs here. I'll just give you a recap for those who haven't seen this before or don't know the situation. The stray dog problem in Greece is one of the second worst in Europe, second only to Romania. And what is worse than that, really, is the torture issues that we have here, the animal abuse. You just would not believe it. I'm clearly not going to tell you all about it, because it makes them very, very hard viewing and listening. But the stories that we have been privy to, here we go, look, they're having a bit of a huddle up in here to keep warm, and the things that we have seen now, you just wouldn't believe just how cruel people can be. And we find it hard to fathom when we come over here, because everyone that we meet, all the Greeks, are just so lovely and friendly and welcoming, but I'm assuming it's a very small percentage of the population.